All right, let's jump right into it. We're going to talk about what might just be the single most important step in any AI project. And funnily enough, it's the one most teams just completely skip over. And that's this: defining what success actually looks like before you ever start building anything. It's all about creating what I like to call a performance contract for your AI. You've probably seen this happen. It's a question that honestly haunts a lot of businesses. You pour a ton of time, a ton of money, and all this talent into an AI project. And the results just, well, they fall flat. They don't deliver that game-changing value you are promised. So why is this story so common? The answer is often way simpler than you think. The project kicked off with this big, fuzzy goal, but not a concrete, measurable target. And when you don't have a clear definition of what winning looks like, you're basically flying blind. You're just hoping you land somewhere useful. And that's exactly why a disciplined approach, something like the CPMAI methodology, is such a game changer. It forces you right from the get-go to start in the right place, which is phase one, business understanding. Before you even think about data or algorithms, you've got to nail down the business problem and define what a successful outcome really is.
Now, this is so important because it gets to the heart of the huge mental shift you need for AI. See, traditional software is black and white. It's either right or it's wrong. But AI lives in a world of probabilities, in shades of gray. So the goal isn't perfection, because let's be honest, that's impossible. The goal is to understand and, even more importantly, to manage the errors.
Let's talk about those errors for a second. You get a report back and it says your new AI model is 95% accurate. I mean, on the surface, that sounds amazing, right? That's an A+. It sounds like a total success. But is it really? And here is the absolute crux of the problem. What if that measly 5% of mistakes includes that one email from your biggest client approving a massive deal? Or what if it's a critical invoice you miss? All of a sudden, 95% accuracy doesn't sound so hot, does it? It's the type of error and the cost of that error that really truly matter. So, how in the world do we get a handle on this? We do it with this simple little grid. It's called a confusion matrix, but I want you to start thinking of it as your AI's performance contract. Seriously, it's not just some nerdy data science tool, it is a business agreement that spells out every single possible outcome, good and bad.
Let's break down the terms of this contract. First up, the true positive. This is the easy one. An email was spam, and yep, the AI correctly flagged it as spam. The system did exactly what it was supposed to do. That's a clear win.
Just as important, you've got the true negative. This is when an email was totally legitimate and the AI correctly let it into your inbox. In this case, the AI made the right call by doing nothing at all. Another perfect outcome.
Okay, now we get to the mistakes. A false positive, you'll also hear this called a type 1 error. This is when the AI gets a little overeager. It sees that important client email we talked about and wrongly slaps a spam label on it. This isn't just a minor annoyance. It can be a really expensive business mistake.
And the other kind of mistake is the false negative, or a type 2 error. This is when the AI is too relaxed, too permissive. A nasty phishing email designed to steal your company's data shows up, and the system just lets it slide right into someone's inbox. The potential for damage here is just huge.
Okay, so there you have it. Those are our 4 building blocks. 2 ways for the AI to get it right, and 2 ways for it to get it totally wrong. And with just these 4 categories, we can now build out specific, measurable metrics that are going to form the real meat of our AI's performance contract.
So let's start with accuracy, that metric from the beginning. It's pretty straightforward. It's just the total number of correct predictions, the true positives and the true negatives, divided by all the predictions the model made. It gives you that high-level 30,000-foot view, but as we've already figured out, it definitely doesn't tell you the whole story. So we have to dig deeper, which brings us to precision. Now, precision is all about avoiding those false positives. It asks a really specific question. Out of all the times the AI yelled spam, how often was it actually right? High precision means your AI isn't crying wolf. When it makes a positive claim, you can trust it. And on the flip side of that coin, we have recall. Recall is all about catching those false negatives. It asks a totally different question. Of all the actual spam that was out there trying to get into your inbox, how much of it did our system manage to find and catch? High recall means you have a very, very effective safety net. And this, right here, illustrates the big trade-off. This is the conversation you have to have because you almost always have to choose. Do you want a system that is terrified of mislabeling a good email? That's high precision. Or do you want a system that is obsessed with never ever missing a bad email? That's high recall. The thing is, when you crank one up, the other one usually goes down. So which one is more important? That's a business decision, plain and simple, not a technical one. It really all boils down to this one simple idea. A successful AI project is not about getting rid of all the errors. It's about strategically deciding ahead of time which kinds of mistakes are acceptable for your business and which ones are absolutely not. That right there is the heart of your performance contract. So, how do you actually put this into practice? Here you go. Here's your checklist. As part of that phase 1 business understanding, you get all the key stakeholders in a room and you agree on these 5 numbers. What's our minimum acceptable accuracy, our minimum precision, our minimum recall, and just as important, what's the maximum rate of false positives and false negatives we can live with? These numbers become the rules of the road for the whole project. And this quote just sums it all up perfectly. All of this upfront work, the meetings, hashing out the trade-offs, setting these targets, it's all designed to make sure that your very smart, very expensive technical team spends its time and effort building a model that actually solves the right business problem. So I'll just leave you with this final thought. Your AI is going to make mistakes. That's a guarantee. It's not perfect. So the only question that really matters for your project's success is this. Have you decided as a business which mistakes you can live with?